Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maya Royo and I teach creative people how to sell their art online. And in today's video is something that I've been wanting to do for such a long time, and it's totally relating to the video that we had yesterday about how to make coloring pages, and we've done that with Canva and a bit with Clip Studio Paint, but I'm sure that what you guys are doing with your own illustration softwares is far better. But today what we're going to be learning is basically how to sell these coloring pages online. And that could be whether you're selling printable coloring pages on Etsy. If you're selling printable coloring pages not on Etsy, which is also an option, or if you want to sell physical copies of your printable coloring books and really give a person a physical coloring book to color, whether you're doing it integrated with Lulu or doing it with Amazon KDP. And we're going to start today with just, listing the options that we have, because you can sell printable coloring pages on Etsy. And I think that a lot of people already know that. But did you know that you could also sell printable coloring pages on Shopify? Shopify has a really, really cool app for digital downloads, and you can easily transform your shop on Shopify to digital downloads and not to print on demand or drop shipping. And another option that you have with Shopify is an integration with basically a self-publisher called Lulu. And you can integrate with Lulu, or in that case, Lulu Express, to create coloring pages. Basically take all of the mockups and all of their data, integrate it with your Shopify store, and whenever someone orders your coloring book from your Shopify store, the order is being placed with Lulu, who manufacture the item and send it to the client directly. You could also just sell things on Lulu. Even though they're not as big as Amazon, they are still big in terms of giving you the platform to sell on books. You could sell your coloring pages on Lulu, whether they are digital download files like a printable coloring book, or on paperback, hardcover, coil binder, or even stitch binder, which I know a lot of colorists do love to use. I'm personally a coil kind of girl, but to each his own. Another option that you have is by working with Amazon KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing, which I think a lot of people already know it's for books and novels. But a lot of people also sell stationery like notepads, and a lot of planners and journals are being sold there, as well as coloring pages. So you can also sell it there with their variety of paperbacks and hardcover journals. Another option you have for selling digital download items is with Woocommerce. And Woocommerce is basically the e-commerce, the shopping plugin for WordPress. And if you've seen the last few videos, we've been talking a lot about WordPress, and we've done a bit, I think it was like 2 tutorials so far. One where we were working with the sketch theme and one where we were working with Astra theme. And I do believe that WordPress is super easy and super fun. But even me, when I've been working with WordPress for, I think, about 9 years now, when I need to build a website for my best friend and we're talking about having a shop, we are seriously considering Shopify over WordPress, even though Shopify has higher fees than WordPress, because WordPress is an open source free software to use, free technology to use, where you basically only pay for the hosting and domain, and Shopify costs the minimum of $29 a month, plus add-ins for plugins who can make your life easier and your shop prettier. By the way, the digital download plugin that I mentioned before, integrated with Shopify, does not cost money. The option for setting up your own WordPress WooCommerce website using a digital download plugin to manage basically selling printable items on a WordPress website is still there, but we're not going to be talking about that this much in this video. We also have a video coming up next month, which is how to basically create a Shopify store with digital download items. If that is something that you feel that you need a little bit of help doing it straight on, I can pretty much guarantee it's going to be at the beginning of the month of May. It's something that I've been really looking forward to doing, and when we're going to do it, even though it's going to be in about a couple of weeks, you can still look at this tutorial and learn your lesson, dive deep in Shopify just a bit yourself, just enough to know what kind of mockups you'll need, what kind of materials you'll need, and then have the tutorial together and just, set everything up together. It's really easy, guys. I remember the first time I went into Shopify, it was like pretty much 2 hours of not knowing what to do, what to click on. Everything was so confusing because I was trying to think about it as WordPress, which is more built, more structured, and more complicated. But the minute that I sort of got how easy this is supposed to be, I think I designed like the first homepage on Shopify for I think it was like 4 minutes. They have really good free themes as well, so you don't have to purchase a theme. And I think I'm going to done yapping about them now because we will be talking about them more later on. If you choose to work with Lulu Express integrated with Shopify, or just use Lulu's platform for print on demand, or KDP by Amazon as your print on demand platform for coloring pages, you don't have to necessarily make all the coloring pages yourself. You can go into Creative Fabrica, where you will find dozens and hundreds of full-on coloring pages with print on demand and KDP license, as long as you have the all access pass for Creative Fabrica for $29 a month. Viewers of this channel get a 30% discount on this membership, not once, but lifetime. I will leave a link down below to the special page that Creative Fabrica created for the viewers of this channel, where you can watch basically the discount, what it includes, and then click on directly to get your discount. The first thing we're going to do when we're going to get started basically is dive deeper into Etsy. And I really do recommend that you go onto Etsy yourself and type in the search bar printable coloring pages and see what comes up. See what kind of coloring pages people are selling, how much they're selling it for, and how many sales they've had. And I know it might not be seen from there, but I do know that a lot of the traffic for printable coloring pages for Etsy does not come from Etsy. It either comes from Google or from your own marketing efforts. In about 2 minutes, we're going to go to my computer where I'll show you how to create that featured listing image that basically describes the coloring pages that you will have and selling on Etsy. We will be doing it together using Canva, and I want you guys to write it down because we're going to be using 2454 by 2020 pixels. That is the recommended size that I'm using for all of my Etsy shop, for myself and for my clients. We will also be going over Shopify's plugin for digital downloads. I'm going to show you how it looks and where you can find it. But before we get started with that, I have 3 small announcements. The first one is, if you're watching this video as a live premiere, you might have noticed that I'm here on the chat, basically chatting you up and typing, and I'm doing it without touching the keyboards because this is not a live video. This is actually a pre-recorded video, pre-edited video that I uploaded onto YouTube with the feature of a live premiere. That means that for the very first time that this video is being seen on YouTube, we get to watch it together with a live chat on the side for your questions. If you have any questions regarding what I do, if, I don't know, I said a word and you missed it, just feel free to ask me in the chat on the side. And I think most of the times we just talk about what we're eating, and it's kind of fun. And guys, for those of you who were in live premiere earlier today, I'm so sorry for missing it out. There was a huge mix-up with the video yesterday, and it actually premiered here at 6 a.m. and I was sleeping. To be honest with you guys, I was sleeping, but I heard in our group that you had a really good conversation, so that is cool for me. In any case, if you have a comment or a question that is longer, because the live chat space is limited in terms of sentences and in my ability to really reply to you guys. If you really want to dive deeper in with your questions about this topic, please do it in the comment section below. You can also send me these professional questions to the Ask Me Anything form, the Ask Me Anything Google form that is in the description of this video. And I will be looking at these questions when I make my Ask Me Anything answer video in May. That form also includes personal questions about me, professional questions about me, and if you have any questions on YouTube. And I've already seen people who wrote down, I have too many questions on YouTube. Guys, if you're not going to ask, I'm not going to answer. So feel free to ask, and don't worry about embarrassing me. If your question is going to be too embarrassing, I'm just not going to answer it. Trust me. You'll also find down below a link to a Google form for shop reviews, and I'm filming the next shop review in the next 2 days because we have a shop review video in the 29th. And that means Redbubble, Etsy, Society6, MBA, KDP, Zazzle, Lulu, Shopify. Am I missing something? Oh, all the T's. TeePublic, Teecheap, and Teespring, although they're calling themselves Spring now, which is kind of weird because there is a really large, huge Israeli fashion brand that is called Spring forever. And the minute I heard like Teespring went into Spring, and we're like, copyright infringement much? I guess it's different because it's in Israel, but it was still kind of weird to have a look at that. And now what we're going to do is go to my computer and just get started with showing you how you can create these featured images for your Etsy store selling printable coloring pages, and then get back to me and talk a bit more about the other options that you have. The thing that we're going to do when we want to make a mock-up for our coloring pages for Etsy is going to Canva, and I do most of the designs for Canva featured image using their create a design customize option, and I'm doing it on 2454 pixels by 2020 pixels. And I've already opened a new design tab for that with a clean design. Now, when we're doing mockups for Etsy, we need to remember several things. One, we need to have our branding on it. We need to have some explanations on it. And we need to make sure that we have at least 5 images. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through and I'm going to check out some of the coloring pages that I have right now in my computer, see if I have enough coloring pages to basically get this started, or if I need to manufacture some. Don't worry guys, I'll do it real quick and I'll photo edit. You wouldn't even notice the time was passed. So what I have here are 5 pages that belong to sort of the same coloring book style that I want to upload, as one unit. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Canva and I'm going to just open, a normal PDF document for an A4 size paper, because even if people are using, US letter in the US, most of the world still uses A4, which is why it's in the demo. You can design your coloring pages to also fit US letterhead, or you can design your coloring pages to be 8 by 10 inches. I know a lot of people do that as well as create your coloring pages in terms of cards. So in that case, it would be sort of like an A5 or an A6. And now it's just loading up what we have here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag all of them here to create the files. So all of these got up. I have the sunflowers, I have the little girl with the sunglasses. This is actually called Between the Line Coloring Book, which I started, I think, like 2 years ago and never got to finish. I have the little squirrel here that is sort of a planta. And I also have the unicorn here, as well as something a bit more motivational. And what I'm going to do with these now, I'm just going to go back and refresh the page that I opened for the featured image for Etsy to make sure that it includes the uploads that I've just done. And the first thing I'm going to do is I need sort of a background for all of it. I know a lot of people who use wooden backgrounds. I'm not sure if I like them as much. I really do like pattern backgrounds. Like this one, I think it's very playful and it's kind of cute. And you can adjust the color of this sort of background to your photos based on the colors of your branding of your personal Etsy store. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on all of these 5 pages. And I'm going to gather all of them up together and make them a bit smaller because they're too big to fit this sort of mock-up. And I can either place all of them together, sort of like make them into like this rainbow-ish kind of shape. So for example, one of them will go to the side. I have 5, so one of them is going to be in the middle, and then the other 2 are going to follow it below. And I know that I showed you in some of my videos a way to basically create a shadow by taking a different photo and minimizing the size of it, creating gaps, downloading it in PNG, and basically setting up the blur. But Canva also started doing an amazing effects for your existing photos. Now, I don't know if this is for Canva Pro users only, or if this is also available in Canva for free. But if you want, you have a link down below for a 30 days free trial with Canva Pro. And I honestly do think that they're worth it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be paying for them for the past 2 years. So I'm just going to click on a drop shadow. And I have an instant shadow for this photo. And I'm going to basically do the same for all of them. And now that I've done shadows for all of them, let's just zoom in a bit to have a look at what we have here. Some of them might appear blurry for a second because it really takes time for the effect to set in. But I really like how this looks at the moment. I really think that it's cool. And what I need right now and what is missing right now are sort of like 3 things, because we're missing the branding. We're missing the fact that this is a digital download item and not a physical coloring book. And we're also missing sort of a phrase, maybe the title for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick out like random colors and, just random fonts. But obviously you need to do this based on your fonts and your branding. And I was actually thinking about creating a video about how to create your own Etsy store logo and Etsy cover photo. Please let me know in the comment section below if that is interesting to you. So let's just call it, because this is called Between the Lines. That's how I call the book. And honestly, I don't know if you've been in the coloring scene, but it's all about books. It's all about the author. Between the Lines coloring book. And in most cases, obviously, I will have a lot more items here. This coloring book was designed to have 20 pages, and I only have 5 pages done so far. And I'm just going to quickly change the font because even though it doesn't matter, I really hate Open Sans. Honestly, I don't know who's using it, but I mean, come on. Word died like 10 years ago, enter the world of Canva and stop using Open Sans. Just because it's default doesn't make it good. And I'm putting this sort of above it to create this sort of like grid over it. And what I'm missing here is the branding. For that, I'm just going to go to Elements and I'm just going to click on the word logo, and whatever logo is going to come up, we're going to use that one, because, you know, you guys use your own logos, but I found this like weird nature vibes logo that I'm doing in all blacks. And I also need something to let people know that this is a digital, and I also need something to let people know that this is a digital download item. And we're going to be having that sort of like announcement or graphics on all of the products, on all of the mockups, as well as we're having it in the actual description, even though, you know, you have it in the description as well, but we need to have it in multiple places because people still do order printable coloring pages and then expect to have a book. And now that I'm still in Elements, I'm just going to quickly go in like and type in circle or something like that. And I kind of like, we have like watercolor circles. These are pro members, but we also have like good free ones. And I'm trying to find something that will sort of go along with this style, because I just want something basic to put on the fact that this is a digital download item. And I really like this one. I kind of like this one, even though, you know, the color might not match, because we have a very similar color to in the background already. But what we can do is, well, change the background, and make sure that it looks a bit better. I kind of like with the blue one. I don't know what you guys think. I keep forgetting you guys can't answer me. But indeed, I feel a lot less crazy recording these things when someone eventually is going to listen to them, because, hey, I also talk to myself when I'm doing this alone at home. And let's put in, I think this one will go well. Will go much better. And obviously you can have your own style. You can use mockups from Placeit. I've actually made a full video just about Placeit, so you can use it. There is a link to that down below as well. And here what we're going to write down is digital download. You can also write, you know, printable book, no physical copy, PDF, whatever it is that you want. And we're going to change the font color, because if we use brusher at the top, maybe use, I think Glicker Condensed could look really good with that. And they have sort of like this effect together. But I really do think that if you're using brusher as is, when you go with Glicker Condensed, sort of go in and upper cap everything, because honestly, it's one of the prettiest fonts when it's upper capped. And even though you're not selling this font, it's just for the show, but it really does look good. I just want to make sure that I make the word digital a bit bigger, because it will need to fit my circle. And then I'm going to take it and drag it down to here. But I also want to give it a little bit more of an edge or a style. So I'm either going to splice it or I'm going to shadow it. I think maybe splicing has been done enough yesterday, because we've spliced everything when we did the coloring tutorial. So maybe just go with the shadow. And you can play around with blur settings. You can play around with the direction of the shadow. But I kind of like that the direction of the shadow is the same direction as the shadow that we did for the photos, because it's, you know, it's very consistent. And we can play around with the offset and with the transparency, that I always like to have it a little less transparent than it usually is. And while we're at it, you know what, we can also copy this style and create this same shadow effect to the title that we have. I think I will create more, you know, of this unity vibe. And this would be the first page that we're setting up, that we're showing people. This would be the first image that they see, basically when they want to come into Etsy. But a different way to create this image, and you don't have to create either one of them. You can create both and then sort of like A/B test which one works best as, you know, the main photo. So for one book, do this, and the other book, do that. And what we're doing here is, first of all, I'm going to merge digital download with the effect behind it with a little watercolor. So we're going to group it together so it's not going to move. And I'm reminding you guys, this is our sort of logo. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go and I'm going to take like what I think is like one of my best pages from this 5-book thing. I'm going to take the digital download, move it, and shrink it up a bit just to be on top of the main photo. And I'm also going to take the logo and put it at the bottom of that main photo. But then I'm going to take all the other 4 and I'm going to shrink them down together to the same size and sort of create, you know, right next to them. just like that. And this would be a different way to basically feature and present your coloring pages. And you can use it again as a featured image, or you can just, use it as an image. Because we still have to have 5 images, guys. 5 images per listing is the golden rule, because I'm not going to tell you to have 10. That's insane. And I do recommend adding some stuff from Playset. They have beautiful mock-ups of kids actually coloring things, which are way more impressive. And you can also add sort of a menu. So for example, let me just copy this one. And I'm going to delete all the other 4 that we have here. I'm going to go back to uploads, and I'm going to choose a different one than this specific one. Let's go with the one with the unicorn, because everybody loves unicorn, guys. Come on. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy paste the design that I made for the digital downloads, and of course ungroup it because I don't want the back of it. And I'm going to delete the back of it and just make it a bit larger like that, and write down included in the delivery. You can also write down this list includes, you're going to be getting, please note, whatever, included in the delivery, 5 coloring pages, A4 PDF. I think we have a problem with the line spacing here, guys. A4 PDF, print at home, and color as many times as you wish. You can style this however you want to. You can change the styling, add a few more, because again, people really need to see more photos, and Etsy needs to see more photos, because having 5 photos on your Etsy listing is actually an SEO factor, not just the keywords, guys. And what I'm going to do here now is it's not a full-on how to upload it and how to list it. We have a lot of videos where we were talking about how to list items on Etsy. But basically what you'll have to do is download these mockups, including several mockups, sort of like last images that I always like to do. So for example, you take a photo of yourself and you put it here, and then you copy obviously your logo on the photo, you put it on the side, and then you grab a piece of this text and sort of center it on the side that is remaining between the photo and the gap on the side, and write sort of like a thank you. So thank you for shopping small every time you shop on Etsy. You support a small business. Something like that. You can also say like, thank you for watching my designs. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook, follow me on whatnot. And another one that I recommend for people to have is sort of a different design that basically features a sale, and that could be easily done. Just go to photos and type in sale. And let's say you want to have sale in a shop that if someone purchases more than 3 items, they get 30% off. So I'm just going to quickly grab this girl. If you've seen any of my videos, I mean, I've been using her quite a lot because it really is one of the best sales banners. So I'm just going to write down buy 3 items, like in big. Let's make it huge. Buy 3 items on the side here. And right on the other side, get 30% off. And that's basically all you need to do. Let me just move her a bit. Something like that. Minimize both of them. Make sure that they fit. Maybe downsize that one. And something like this. You know, guys, just play around with it. It's your creativity. It's your shop. It's about how you like to do things and like your voice within it. But this is a really good way to make sure that you maximize the connection that you can have with the person who just walked into your Etsy store, as well as maximize the 5 listings, the 5 photos for listings, without having to repeat the same photo over and again and making everyone bored. So what we're going to do here is that we basically have the 3 featured images, and we have also the image with your name on it that basically says thank you for shopping in my store, thank you for shopping small. And we also have the sale image that is crucially important. And then we upload it to Etsy. The only thing you need to remember is to go back to the Canva page that we made with the A4 design we're going to name this file Between the Lines Coloring Book, and then you're going to export it as PDF print, which is the best quality of print by Canva, so people can do it at home. This is the first option, but enough about creating mockups on Canva for Etsy. Let's go back to me and talk a little bit about having Shopify either integrated with Lulu or used as a plugin, which means that what we're going to be talking about is how to use Shopify to sell either printable coloring pages or physical copies of your coloring pages. As we said in the beginning, another platform that you can use to basically sell off printable coloring pages is Shopify with the digital download plugin option. But you can also integrate it with Lulu Express and sell physical copies of your books. We're having a full tutorial on how to set up your Shopify store to selling digital download files next month, so I didn't really want to go deeper into that because it was really more important for me that you guys would just see these as options and also do your own research. And you know what? Never trust one person, not even me. Do your own research about these topics, and if you want me to dive deeper into one of these, please let me know in the comment section below or in the Ask Me Anything form. But what I'm really excited about this whole option is that you can create these beautiful coloring pages that are physical items, and that is something crucial and important. And I do believe that a lot of people sometimes don't know, because when you're coming into KDP or you're coming into print on demand or Etsy Printables, the logic always takes us to make a lot. It always is the questions of quality versus quantity when people just tell you, no, you need quality, but you also need quantity. And in that case, I can tell you that I've seen some pretty successful coloring book authors who have 3 coloring books. 3, guys. 4 years, 3 coloring books. And these are massive and themed coloring books with over 100 pages each. And what they do is that they focus all of the marketing efforts constantly only on these 3 books, and they sell. Because I don't know if you've known it, but the coloring enthusiastic community in the world is super, super huge. People spend hundreds and even thousands of dollars a month just on coloring pencils. This is a huge, huge niche. And I do have to tell you something that we've been talking about sort of in the other videos. And I don't know if it doesn't really relate specifically to that, but it relates to everything. For example, if you're making, if you want to make this shop for print on demand for t-shirts, and it's all about, being a mom and mom life. If you've never had a friend who's a mom, or you're not a mom, the chances are that you will find it harder to find these like funny things to say because you're just not in it. And I think it's exactly the same with coloring. If you don't like coloring, if you don't understand it, it's going to be harder for you to succeed. And I remember a friend of mine who was opening a similar shop, like a coloring pages, I think it was on Etsy. And I remember after 1 month, she was like, why are people even buying this? Like, are they bored? And first of all, for me, because, coloring pages has been a huge part of my PTSD therapy, for me, it was kind of hard to hear because, basically you're telling me about the one thing that kept me alive all these years and you're calling it, are they bored? No. Some of them are bored. Some of them are doing it because they have arthritis and it's a good physical therapy exercise. Some people are just lonely, guys. Corona is here and everyone is taking it in a different way. And I think that if you do understand the reason why people use coloring pages or why you would like to use coloring pages, it will take you on the directions of what coloring pages you would like to make yourself. Now, if you want to sell your own coloring pages, whether they are digital or physical, on a Shopify store and basically go further into branding yourself, you can do that with Lulu. Lulu is sort of a platform that reminds us of KDP, just without the hassle of having to go and actually list up onto Amazon, getting rejected a million times, and figuring out what to do next. So Lulu basically doesn't, decide if you get in or not. You just get in by uploading something. And they also integrate with Amazon and sell on Amazon as well. So you can actually do the whole process of creating that international scan number for the book or not. It's up to you. What we have with Lulu is that basically this is a platform for self-publishing that people use to make books, to make notebooks, to make all kinds of items, as well as obviously coloring pages. And check out their dropship pricing, the print-on-demand pricing for books. So let's just say I want to make a coloring book and I'm not sure if I wanted to select US trade or maybe let's go with Royal. I'm not sure. Let's see what other size they have. They do have a US letterhead notebook. They actually also have an A4. So let's just go with A4 because it's the easiest. So let's say we want to go with A4. You can download a bundle of the design. They really make it easier for you guys to know exactly what you want to do. And I want to take us a bit into pricing because it will be the easiest way for you to know if this is for you or not. So I'm choosing a print book because that's what I want. And then I need to choose the book size, and it's going to be an A4. And let's say you have 40 pages in your coloring book, which I think is less than standard. And we're going to choose the black and white standard paper because the premium paper might not look good if you actually want to color it then after that with gel papers, because the premium quality paper makes the gel last longer and sort of not absorb. And I also wouldn't recommend making the design on both sides. I would recommend like making the design only on one side because a lot of people, complain that it's being transferred. And obviously we're going to choose that the paper is going to be white, and we can coil bound it, we can hot cover it, we can paper bucket, we can linen wrap it, and saddle stitch. So we're not going to hot cover 40 pages of a coloring book because, that's annoying as a colorist. And I think that saddle stitches might work, or coil bound. I'm personally a fan of coil bound with anything. I wish that more coloring book authors would start coil bounding because it's just so much easier. So I'm going to choose coil bound, and our finish is going to be matte. And then the price cost per book is going to be $470, which is not that much, guys. Not that much. Honestly, if I would just make like a blank notebook, and if you order it from Society 6, it's going to cost you a bit, like 250% more. So it's not that much of a money. And what you can do with Lulu is that you can sell on their platform and sort of like market yourself or rely on some of their traffic. You can also use Lulu to basically sell a printable coloring book, or you could integrate Lulu Express with Shopify and have this automatic integration that you have with Printable and Etsy for clothing, only for printing your own coloring books. And I do have to remind you guys that if you do that, if you go on full KDP or POD with Lulu Express for your coloring pages, you can use POD approved and KDP approved all access license pass from Creative Fabrica. All of these amazing listings for coloring pages that are available to you. There will be a link down below for our channel's 30% off lifetime discount for the all access pass for the POD department. And what I wanted to show you with Shopify, I don't know if you've known Shopify a lot, and I really don't want to get much into it because I'll have a video coming up on May that is just about that. But if you've already started a bit with Shopify, if you want to get, the first toe in the water, dip your toe in the water with Shopify, just go ahead and download the free Shopify app that is called Digital Downloads. It's actually pretty easy. Just go to apps.shopify.com/digital downloads and it's there. And once you download it, it basically allows you to sell printable items on Shopify, and you can just upload everything onto there, and you will do basically the same thing that we did with Etsy when we created these mockups. Only the only difference going to be is that you're going to make your mockups to be on a full square, which means we're not going to do them 2454 by 2020 pixels. You are most likely going to do them around 2300 by 2300 pixels. And we are going to be talking a lot more about Shopify in May. We will have a full video on how to create a printable download sort of business using Shopify instead of Etsy as an alternative for people who found Etsy fees to be too expensive or the competition on that platform to be too high. You will also find similar plugins for digital downloads that you could use with Woocommerce, which is the shop settings for WordPress. And another thing that I don't know if you've thought about it or not, but if you go back into Lulu for the pricing, what we have here is the price for one unit. But let's go a bit up and try to see if we have sort of like discounts for bulks, because we have here like number of copies. So let's say I do number of copy and I want this to be shipped to the USA. So let me choose that one. And we have here all the shipping options, which is quite funny because their express shipping option is pretty much 4 times the book or 5 times the book. But we also have this option for $4.94. And if the book is $4.70 and the shipping is $4.94, then you could pretty much price this up on Shopify for $20 and still make a nice and hefty revenue. But what happens when we go in and we type number of copies, let's say 50? Well, obviously, the shipping was reduced by a lot. It's not times 50, but you also got a 5% volume discount. And if you want to take this coloring page as a main business, because I know people who have like about 100 pages of a really good coloring book, and all they do on Instagram is just market that one book. So let's just say I want to market that one book and I want 200 copies. And what I will have here is a 15% volume discount. So technically, another thing that you could do with this, if you really want to invest it full on, and I know that it's a bit outside of the print and demand niche, a bit outside of the whole passive income and no risk income, but if you are taking your coloring business seriously, you can actually sell physical coloring pages on Etsy, which is very, very not common on Etsy because everybody's selling printables, but you could sell physical coloring pages on Etsy by bulk ordering. And if you bulk order 200 copies of your book, it's going to cost you about $1,000 or a little bit less, including shipping. And those would be just items that you have at home, and you can open a physical Etsy shop or a Shopify store and just sell it this way. Another option that we have is by going to Amazon. And you know what? I'm just going to type in on Google Amazon coloring pages, and I want to see their KDP options. And if you don't know, KDP stands for Kindle Direct Publishing. There is a way to get accepted KDP. And I do know that there are a lot of viewers on this channel who are on KDP. And I've seen a lot of comments, that I have to go into KDP. And honestly, guys, I've had this problem with Pioneer that I texted them, I think it was like 3 months ago or 2 months ago or both, about basically creating sort of this shadow bank account in the United States so I can start working with KDP. I haven't heard from them since, and honestly, because I've been so busy with YouTube and with my best friend's shop and with other things that I'm doing on Fine Art America and with the move to Bulgaria, I really don't have time for it. So I really do appreciate how much you're all messaging me and commenting that I should really go into KDP. Thank you guys. I do appreciate it. I know that you've seen some of my watercolor sketches, and yes, they would look amazing on a notebook. And I know that there is so much potential. Like, I'm leaving money on the floor right now, but it's just something that I think I will need to wait a few months to be able to do. Plus, in a few months, I might be just relocating to Europe and I'll have a European bank account and just fix it that way. But thank you so much for your concern. And I'm going to stop yapping on that now and just let's look at some coloring pages, because they're super cute. I actually entered kids coloring pages. Oh, the Disney princess coloring pages, so illegal. Although I do think that Crayola sort of has the right to use Disney ones. But don't look at Crayola selling Disney coloring pages and selling, Frozen coloring pages and do the same. If you're not Crayola, guys, you're going to get banned from Amazon. But I do want to find coloring pages for adults because for some reason it just said coloring pages for kids. So let's coloring pages for adults. And we have over 20,000 results, guys. 20,000 results. And I think I actually nailed this one. I really do love it. Adult coloring book, stress relieving designs, animals, Mandela's flowers, paisley patterns, and so much more. Coloring book for adult by Sydney. I do not know how to read her last name. I am sorry. And if you order it with paperback, you get it for $7. It's a pretty affordable book. It has 124 pages, guys. And you know what? This just comes to show you, because you could use that same, but this is an obscenely low price for 124 pages, but she's doing it with Kindle, so she's selling in bulks. If you will be doing this on your own Shopify store integrated with Lulu or as Printables, the price would be a lot higher. I am really looking forward into diving deeper into KDP, maybe having a guest come up to our channel and talk about, KDP options, or, just wait until I get into KDP and we can have fun with it. But KDP is definitely an option. And just like I said about the Lulu Express integration with Shopify before, you can use KDP and POD approved designs like full on coloring pages from Creative Fabrica. So let's get back to me now and talk a bit more about what we've just seen now, some of the conclusions we have, including marketing tips for selling your own coloring pages, whether they are printables, digital downloads, or physical copies, or print-on-demand KDP copies with KDP by Amazon, or print-on-demand combination of Lulu and Shopify. And now that we've seen some of these options, and of course we're going to be talking about them later on in this channel, but this was sort of like a mix of things, sort of like when we did the print on demand options with Etsy or with Shopify or with marketplaces. So this was kind of one of these videos because I want to open up your minds to the options before you have a topic that you want to focus on. Because it's super easy to say, I want to know more about printable coloring pages on Etsy when you think that this is the only option that you have. And I hope that throughout this video, we have looked at some interesting options, including the options that I mentioned before about literally making one good book, physically printing it with Lulu Express, shipping it to you, and then selling it, whether it's on Etsy, whether it's even on Facebook with PayPal or Facebook Marketplace, or selling it on your own Shopify or Woocommerce store, because you now have the physical copy. You could also sell it on Etsy or on your own Shopify store along with pencils and make a full kit from it. Because I don't know if you remember, but when we did the Instagram marketing part 1 as an artist video, I have showed you an amazing coloring book author that had this amazing package that is not just a coloring book, it's the coloring book and it's postcards to color. And she had some pens and she had some pencils inside there and a few other like just plain pages. And she put it all in the box. And the reason why she was able to do that is because she pre-ordered everything herself. And this was pretty much her only coloring book. So this is something that I think is worth checking if you can afford the initial price, because it could really grow on and expand. However, knowing these options, even if you are going to do the research yourself in terms of what is it going to cost me, who do I need to pay and when, even if you do all this research for yourself, there are still a few tips that I'd like to leave you with, because I think that they're crucial to you making the decision whether or not to take on this journey, whether with KDP, print on demand, Printables, or Shopify, basically making a living or having this cool little side hustle from coloring pages. And those two things sort of relate to marketing. And the first one is the number one thing that you need in order to sell coloring pages successfully is to color these pages. And if this can be you, you can color them very talentedly or very simply. You can use gel pens, you can use markers, you can use pencils, and you could also use other people, because that relates to my tip number 1, which is to go onto Facebook and join coloring page groups. Yes, that's a thing. That is a huge thing, and I love them because they are awesome people and they share how they color their pages. And there are 3 reasons why you want to be in these groups. 1, get more clients. And I'm not talking about flat out saying, hey, this is my coloring book, buy it. That doesn't work. That would pretty much get you banned from any true colorist group. What I'm talking about is taking one of your own pages, coloring it, and uploading it. Because that's what we do in coloring groups on Facebook. We just talk to each other and share with each other our coloring pages and how we color them. We even consult with each other. What colors should I use? For example, you have a woman, she's wearing a dress. She has like long hair and a background behind her. And the person made her dress purple. What kind of background should it have? What kind of hair color should I make for her? And I always kind of go like, make her face like green. Make her an alien. I'm a weird coloring girl. I'm a totally weird coloring girl. I know it. What can I do? And when we're talking about these groups and sharing these basic posts, this is what we're doing. And this is something that you can do as well, because you can just simply color one of your own pages and post it to the group and ask people for their critique, their opinion. And yes, mention that this page is from your book. The second thing you can do within these groups that sort of get you going, and it relates to the first thing that I said before about your marketing and needing to have colored photos, is to literally contact the people that you see post high quality colored pages and tell them, hi, can I send you a free copy of my book? Or can I send you a free PDF of my printable coloring book? I would love for you to paint and color 1 or 2 pages and send it up to me, or upload them onto Instagram and tag me. Yes, you can have other people coloring your pages as long as you give them for free, because that's what you can do to get people to have quality photos of your items done for you. And the third thing that is really useful within these groups is that this is the best way to do research, guys, because if you go onto Google And we've had a full video on Google SEO and Google SEO tools, but if you're looking throughout all these tools, you're seeing what people search for on Google, and some coloring page enthusiasts already have the place that they want to go to. They're not even searching Google for it. And, if a person is looking for a coloring book for adults, what kind? So when you go into these groups and just watch what they're uploading, check out the style that each person is uploading and the comments from other people to know if this could be maybe a niche for you. We had a very amazing video yesterday, a very simple video yesterday on how to make your own coloring pages using Clip Studio Paint and Canva. We're also having another video next month in May about how to illustrate from a photo. And yes, I do mean illustrate in terms of, making these personalized items for Etsy. But the very first step in illustrating a photo is illustrating the outlines of it, which makes it a coloring page. So we're going to have that on next month, as well as the Shopify digital download store set up next month. But what we have coming up this month, even though this month has about pretty much 3 days left, is on the 29th, a shop review with me going over your stores. And on the 30th, we will have Instagram marketing part 3 as a niche. On May 1st, we are having my goals video where I will go over my April goals and pretty much explain to you why I have not met most of them, and setting up my May goals, not even knowing where I'm going to be staying at. Like, I know where I'm going to be staying at, but 2 days after that video, I'm going to pretty much be in a different country, in a different place. I am temporarily relocating to Bansko, Bulgaria, and yes, I will upload photos. If you like this video, please hit that like button down below, because according to YouTube SEO rules and algorithm, if someone likes this video, YouTube thinks, hey, this is a cool video and I'm going to show it to more people. Subscribe to my channel if you're not yet subscribed, and feel free to check out my Instagram, may.arroyo, for, updates on things that I'm doing. I don't always upload everything here, and I always upload to my story when a live premiere is up. And if you've seen any of my videos, you know exactly what I'm about to say right now, because I'm totally done with this video. I'm going to go and edit it and then watch it with you guys and watch me saying that I edited it and feel like a time traveler in a way. But that is it from me for today, and the live chat is going to end in 3, 2, 1, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!